Hey, what's up guys? Wayne the Paperback Pleb here with my first video. Now, I'm really excited to get into this. I've always been a watcher or follower of BookTube as well as Book Talk. And I'm just excited to delve into it with the content creation side because I've actually created YouTube content for a solid year or more on another channel. And I have recently gotten back into reading, and that's why I call myself a semi-casual or the paperback pleb. I used to read very heavily. As soon as I began to learn to read, I had never stopped until the end of high school. And when I my first year of college, I kind of fell off with reading for pleasure because textbooks were constantly getting shoved in my face and reading became more of a chore instead of a hobby. And then I've recently gotten back into it in the past year and I've been enjoying it ever since. And so I really like young adult fiction, and I really love fantasy in all of its forms: young adult fantasy, like grimdark, all of that. So I enjoy all of that, and that's a majority of what I read. So that makes sense why my first review on this channel is going to be a young adult novel. But before we get into it, please leave a like, pop a sub, and comment. It really helps out small channels like mine that have just been made, and I appreciate you guys watching me up until this point. Without further ado, let's get into why you clicked on this video, and that is my review of Renegades by Marissa Meyer. Now, I've never read any of her novels before. I thrifted this for $1. It really stuck out to me. I had been eyeing it in Barnes & Noble for quite some time, and then I found it in the thrift store, actually twice. The first copy got literally eaten up by one of my dogs, and before I even began to read it. And then I found this copy, which is the ARC copy, but it's pretty similar to the final product, and I found this for $1. So it was destiny for me to read this and make this review, apparently. So just a general synopsis of the book in general. It takes place in a world full of superheroes and supervillains. There's prodigies is what they call them, and they have superpowers, and usually these superpowers procure themselves through times of trial or stress or just randomly, and it seems that it can be passed down through genetics. Now, our main character is Nova, and she is actually a part of the Anarchists, which are basically the supervillains of this world, and she is a supervillain for a reason: to get revenge for her parents' death. And I won't go into super detail about that, just so that you guys can enjoy the start of the book. Now, another character in this is Adrian. Now, Adrian is basically the polar opposite of Nova. His parents are a member of the Renegades, actually the leaders and the forefathers of the Renegades. And so the Renegades are basically the superheroes of this world. Now, prior to Adrian and Nova being like adults or young adults, there was a huge battle in the world between the Anarchists and the Renegades, and unfortunately, well, fortunately and unfortunately, depending on which side you were on, the Renegades won. And so the Anarchists were kind of forced into a little layer of hiding, and the Renegades let them kind of just stick to their own little secluded quarantine as long as they didn't do anything or try to rebel against the Renegades. Now, the Renegades are kind of like a X-Men inspired or X-Men-like group of superheroes. They have their own headquarters or school, so to speak, where prodigies can be accepted into the Renegades through a trial, and then they can learn to train their powers and then eventually be shipped off into there's surveillance, and there's fighting crime on the streets, and there's more of data entry or creating weapons. There's just so many different parts of the Renegades and their headquarters. And so here's Nova, the anarchist side, trying to get revenge against the Renegades and seeing the Renegades as kind of villains in their own right. And then the Renegade side, Adrian has only known the Renegade side, and he only sees the anarchists as villains. So it's that kind of dichotomy, so to speak. And we see these characters actually interact quite a bit and kind of see their viewpoints and see each other's perspectives, or not see each other's perspectives. I don't want to give away too much because this is a spoiler-free review, but it kind of delves into that. So there's the synopsis. Now, things that I didn't like about this, we're going to start with the bad stuff. The things I didn't enjoy about Renegades is it was actually pretty slow and pretty fluffy for the first half. The first half of the book, I was like, this isn't like bad, but this isn't that great or keeping me wanting to read. It was really slow. I felt like I was understanding things right away, but that it was just, I don't know, going too much into stuff that didn't need to be touched on. I don't know. It was just very slow the first half, but then it picks up after that point. I do think the characters are well written. I did find myself understanding these characters and their personalities, especially Nova and Adrian, since they're kind of at the forefront. But there's a lot of side characters too that you kind of get to know. A lot of cool superpowers, and seeing these superpowers intertwine with each other and be in teams. And the fighting sequences are cool too. I like how these superheroes actually... superheroes and the villains, there's more guns in this than I thought too. I thought they were only going to be fighting with superpowers and stuff that they created, but there's just straight up guns in here too, which I thought was a nice little spice to it. But the second half, that was basically the only thing that I didn't enjoy about this book, is it took a while to get started, but that's usually kind of par for the course for a trilogy, because this is part of a trilogy. So it's kind of setting up the world, and then things start rolling and steamrolling and snowballing to where more interesting and fast-paced stuff can occur. But I felt like it was a little bit slower than normal in this book. But the second half, man, was it a roller coaster. Things start picking up, things start happening, and it's just non-stop action till the end. And the end had a fantastic plot twist that I literally did not see coming, like at all. Like legitimately, I was not expecting that plot twist. It's almost a plot twist where I'm like, whoa, what? That is way too jarring. How is that even possible? So I'll leave it at that. It definitely left me wanting more. I was actually halfway through. I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to finish this or if I want to finish the series, because I mean, it's mediocre. It's okay. Like, it's not bad. It's above average, but it's not above average enough to where I want to read a trilogy. But that second half saved it, and I am all in. I ordered the second and third books just off of that alone, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the series. Now, if you like X-Men, I think that's a very good comparison. I think the X-Men is a good comparison with the way the Renegades work and stuff like that, and kind of the humanity's view of superheroes in general. X-Men delves really deep into that, with how certain people see these people with superpowers as like freaks or people that can't be trusted, and vice versa, where they're kind of worshipped in a way. And I really like how this book really delves into that too, and kind of the ethics of having powers in general. And there's a lot of cool little things to be discovered along the way, especially in the second half of the book when things start picking up. So I enjoyed that as well. But yeah, all in all, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Originally, I was going to give it a 6.5, but the second half was really good. 7.5 out of 10. Maybe an 8 on the dot out of 10. I don't like giving like number measurements, but I know a lot of people really look for that. And so if you're looking for a fun superhero young adult novel that is a trilogy, and the trilogy is already finished and you can just kind of plow through the novels, I think this is a great read. It is a thick read for a young adult novel. It is on the longer side. Like I said at the start, let me double check one more time. It is 478 pages, but I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It left me wanting to finish the trilogy, and I think that is enough to get a good grade, 7.5 to 8 out of 10. I'm excited for the second novel, and I will probably get around to it. I'm gonna read a novel in between, and I will not let you guys know about that novel because I want to review it. It's a hot topic in BookTube and Book Talk as of recent, and I kind of want to weigh in my semi-casual perspective, because I think I bring a good in-between of, I'm a casual reader, but I also read more often than a casual reader. I'm right in this like limbo, and so I feel like I can bring a unique perspective, or maybe not. We'll see. So I'm looking forward to your guys' feedback, and if you appreciated this review, don't forget to leave a like, pop a sub, and comment. I really appreciate you guys watching and giving a brand new channel with 0 subscribers a chance. But there's my review of Renegades. Expect another review of a novel I finished before Renegades in the near future, probably in a week or two, probably more likely in a week. And it's by a very popular author, and I'll say that and leave it at that. And it's the first novel of his, there's a hint, that I have ever read, even though he is tremendously popular. But I love you guys. I hope you guys are staying safe. read some books for me, and take it easy.